Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that we managed to make it all the way up to episode 18? I'm just blown away on that. But I'd like to welcome you all again to Detroit by Night. The Motor City broke down. This week, episode 18, De-Liverance. When we last left our party, our wonderful coterie, the nightlife, we ended up running into a very odd situation. While housing Jamie Stone, also known as Project Juliet, in the bottom one of Mr. Rashad's bunkers, for lack of a better term, we ended up having a moment where it was very clear that she needed to end up consuming flesh of some sort. Now, after a bit of wheeling and dealing, it does seem that one of their contacts came through. Apparently, Baron Creed, who has some contacts in the hospital, has managed to end up getting some organs for her to end up consuming. Hopefully they're fresh and consumable for Project Juliet. Be a shame, otherwise. Still, she's already got her fangs into fresher meat. The assistant to Mr. Rashad, who goes by the name of Chunk, has got torn to pieces when Project Juliet managed to sneak onto the elevator with him in an attempt to escape. Tensions are running high, with Raven wanting to tear her to pieces, and the rest of the coterie is highly conflicted. I think that's an accurate summary of the situation. Normally I would end up going through each character and give you a little bit of insight into their plots and plans, but we ended at a very heated moment. So instead of that, let's get right into it, shall we? With the scene opening in the lobby, well, for lack of a better term, Rashad, Mr. Seraph, if I recall, is currently taking Project Juliet back downstairs, while Mouse and Nightmare try and end up handling the situation upstairs. If I recall, please do feel free to correct.
Nope, that's backwards.
That's backwards?
Yep, at the current moment, I'm dealing with trying to save Chunk's life while Nightmare and Mouse is taking Juliet down.
Right. Because now it's Raven wanting to end up tearing her throat out, but has made the decision to end up trying to stabilize Chunk. Now, Mr. Rashad, we're going to end up starting with you. We're going to start with you, as you are currently hanging on to your employee, this large man who has been relatively delicate for the most part, a strong semblance of law and order, as blood is currently on your hands. It's hard enough to want to lick it off your fingers at this point, to taste of him at that point, but you have more pressing concerns, as it seems that Chunk's heart is fluctuating.
Okay. I'm making sure this is my first time ever dueling someone, so I'm trying this to make sure that he, at least, it's a chance that he might make it out of this alive, or at least some semblance of coming out of this. I refuse to let this man die.
Okay. Mr. Seraph, you're going to have to willingly expend one blood. This is not just blood binding. This is giving a part of yourself. one could argue the truest part of yourself. But you're not alone
I
in the room, are you?
know Raven's with me as well. I am fully willing to spend blood to give it to him.
Alright. How would you end up feeding Chunk your blood?
I would bite into my wrist and I would feed the blood from my wrist. Kind of like place it up to his lips and let him suck on my wrist.
Okay. Raven, you're observing this situation. What's going on?
Conflict. I am currently trying to keep Chunk's insides from going outside. Meanwhile, we've got a crazy psycho bitch in the elevator who we will get to her later. But right now we need to keep Chunk alive. And if we don't, then I will not be held responsible.
Yeah, it seems to be a sticking point with you, or lack thereof, given how little responsibility you want to end up taking on anything. It's an interesting twist in that regard, given arguably the two extremes currently huddled over this man, who is grievously wounded. His back is flayed, open to the point where you can see his ribs exposed, and wind is starting to brush up against his lower intestine.
Okay. It's just an animal, Raven. It's just another animal. Let's not think about this as a person with a family just yet. Let's just focus on making sure that he lives to see the next hour.
You could, maybe with your training, get him to a hospital. Be a lot of questions. Be difficult. But with your medical knowledge, there is a chance. Mrs.
Is
Sarah, go ahead.
is that because of the blood now strengthening him, or because last time he was minutes from bleeding out?
Yeah. I'm giving you the option if that's something you want to try. I'm saying there's a chance. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. In fact, it would be arguably slim. But Rashad has done his part to the best of his ability.
I turn to Rashad and I'm like, get a car.
All right. I'll be right back.
Hurry.
Okay. Rashad,
Yes.
is there any member of staff you can go to for this kind of thing? Anyone at all who's not going to end up raising a lot of suspicions? To my
The
understanding, you keep your situation fairly close to the chest, even from your employees.
trying to think. One of the managers of the garages would ask a question or two, but it would be fine. I'd have to forget a little bit about this though.
Okay. You're going to rush off, and we'll get to that point, leaving Raven alone with Chunk. Now, Raven, you're left alone with this individual. Yeah, he's not doing too well. You're pretty sure his skin's starting to grow cold. His breathing's so shallow you can barely hear it.
Come on, you fat fuck. Any other day I would gladly piss you off, but for now I just need you to fucking live.
Alright. I need you to make me a wits plus medicine. Oh, wow. This is going to be interesting. You try to end up keeping the beast in cage, and it needs to express itself. And when you do so, you throw Chunk onto his chest, keeping his back open to the ceiling, and you are doing everything you can. You grab hold of a second vest he keeps behind the counter. You're using it as kind of like a pseudo tourniquet / skin replacement, just binding it. It's so tight the straps threaten to snap. A little bit of fat just oozes out like toothpaste out of the roll as you end up binding it tight, trying to end up keeping his insides inside. It's not a permanent solution, but it might buy him a little bit of time.
Come on, you bastard. Come on.
Mr. Rashad.
Yes.
It's at this point you end up arriving at garage, and you end up having this new point where you look around and you're like, anybody at this point. You know, you're used to people coming to you. It's quite different to be having to chase after somebody. But you end up digging through the garage, just looking, and sure enough, in the small motor pool you have, that you can see somebody's already pulling wrenches. It might be him. But at that point, it's unknown. We're going to fade to black on that moment, as we end up hearing the dinging of a elevator that has finally reached the bottom floor. At this point, 3 horrible creatures pour out of it. 2 of them known to us, and 1 a little bit less so. Nightmare, Mouse, what are you doing?
We need to get her to a room as quickly as possible and get this liver inside her.
I've got the case in my hands and I'm just waiting to go into some room.
Yeah.
Or I could give it to her right away. It doesn't matter to me right now.
Yeah. Her head's hanging low. That bleached hair is hanging over her face. As she just kind of stumbles forward, she's got no fight in her.
I'm being as patient as I possibly can right now, but there's no denying what she did. But if I give up on her, if we give up on her, then she'll have nobody. Been through something like that before. I'm not about to let it happen to someone else.
Do we have a key to open one of these doors, Nightmare?
I've got this card. This is what is used to open most of the doors.
Doesn't take a lot of effort to find a room that would suit the purposes. This is a shelter designed for a few. Though one would have to question why Rashad has such a thing at some point. We would end up saying that as you end up entering the room, Project Juliet, Jamie Stone, she ends up moving into the room, and you can just see that she kind of ends up slouching as she slowly kind of stumbles her way into the room and kind of rests. Her shirt, her jacket, her hands are caked in Chunk's blood. And she sits there, staring at the floor, staring at her hands.
I just take the case and I kind of interpose it into her view. They were able to get something.
Her head raises up to you just a little bit. Maybe it's Chunk's blood or her own eyes, you're not sure. She's caked in it.
We told you we'd get you help. This is just the start.
She looks at the case in Mouse's hands.
Open it up, Mouse.
I open it.
I'm gonna look inside, see what's all, if it's just like a liver or what it is.
There is what appears to be a liver. It's all in ice, organ transplant, but it's in a bag, which is probably the strangest thing. And as you end up going to open it up, and that smell, even in the plastic, reaches your nostrils, she immediately tries to hang on. You can see that everything in her wants her to just leap on this thing.
I'm gonna take out the liver and immediately hand it to her like a zoo assistant feeding a lion.
Yeah, you don't place it in the mouth as you kind of gesture, and she just rips it out of your hand and starts to rip and bite and thrash at it. She continues to consume this piece of meat. This piece of meat, somebody that was once a part of somebody. This is where I'm going to need high or low.
High.
Okay.
I was gonna go for low. Alright.
Alright. Yeah. Okay. She's finishes it. And she looks at her hands, stands up and starts walking to what you presume is a bathroom. She's very slow in her movements.
I'm just gonna watch.
You step to the doorway, and you see her trying to wash her hands, throwing her gloves off, pulling away her jacket, and the red liquid starts to go down the drain. And then all of a sudden she moves quicker than you believe she would, as her head goes right over the toilet, and you just hear the sound, a sickening splatter and splashing, as she begins to retch up bit after bit of of what she just ate. And maybe a little bit of security guard along the way.
Ooh.
It wasn't fresh enough.
Well, shit.
And, in Nightmare's head, he's playing back a scenario where his fists are shaking, and he just begins smashing everything around him in this scenario. And it's just like he's going crazy, but as it cuts back to him outside, what's really happening, it's just him shaking his fists. His rage barely contained of everything that's happened. In fact, it was wasted.
Why does this bother you so much, Nightmare?
It means I was useless once again. It means I could not help someone when they needed it. And it's possible now that she's going to be killed or kill someone else because I couldn't help her.
Yeah. That's probably for the whole of it. Because you can't help anyone, Nightmare. That's not what you do. Nightmares don't help people. They don't. They're just useful for scaring the shit out of people. You're nothing. You keep thinking you're a good guy, but we know the truth, you and I. And that little boy you got carrying around with you? Yeah. Wonder what you'll do to him.
I clenched my fists even more. I'm just repeating to myself internally at first. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. You don't know anything about me. You don't know me.
I am you.
You're not me, you're just something that I was cursed with. You're nothing.
I said I am you. So what does that make you?
Maybe I am nothing too, so what? At least I could try to be better. You always spew the same shit. Eat this person, it'll make you feel better.
And it feels so goddamn good, doesn't it? Come on.
I'm sick and tired of hearing you.
And you're gonna have a long time with me.
At this point, without even saying anything to Mouse, he opens the door and is leaving, but with full force. Like, enough to rip a normal door off its hinges.
Yeah. Nightmare, I'm gonna give you a warning. You are very, very close to a frenzy check right now.
That's why he's trying to separate himself from the situation.
Alright. It's not gonna take much to provoke. Mouse.
Mm.
You're in the room with Juliet. What do you do?
I'm a little bit concerned because Nightmare just thrust the door open with very much force. I'm a little bit shook. Mouse right now is just kind of looking between Juliet and the door, not really moving, trying not to do anything too quickly. He's not entirely sure what he should be doing right now.
Has the thought ever occurred to Mouse that with a simple twist of fate, their positions would have been reversed? That he'd be the one retching up pieces of body parts into a toilet, waiting to die, half starved and delirious.
With the fact that we share the same sire, it could have possibly been that way. And Mouse definitely feels bad that what they got wasn't sufficient. At least it seems that way. He just kind of looks at her and softly just says, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Oh God, that never gets easier. Oh,
Does it happen immediately every time?
no. Oh. Just tasted wrong. It was all tasting wrong. She stands up and there's blood all over the toilet seat, all over every bit of the porcelain. There are chunks of junk literally sitting in a toilet as she, without thinking, just flushes it away. Crawling her way to the running sink as she tries to wash off what she is. Her eyes, those yellow eyes, looking back at her in the mirror.
Did it help at all or no?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I wish it did. Wish I knew. It happens every time, though. Eventually, I'm just throwing up ash and blood. Every
That's
time I eat.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah. Welcome to eternity, right?
It's yours if you want it. I'm gonna try and find you some clothes.
What's the point?
Dignity? Because, you know, it, helps tie us to being human, I guess.
She looks at your reflection in the mirror. Slight curiosity. What did you say your name was again?
Mouse.
And you were always Mouse.
My mom called me that when I was a kid. So it just kind of stuck.
I didn't have much of a mother. Dad took me in, and that was... I have to keep reminding myself that I ate him. I gotta keep reminding myself because it's like I forget. It's like I forget that he's not here anymore. That I can pick up the phone at any time and call him. Have some of the boys come in.
Yeah.
Does it ever get easier?
I don't know. I've only been kindred for 3 months.
If I'm gonna be dead for 3 months. It's like she's taking a moment to process that, like that thought has never occurred to her.
Yeah. 3 months I've been this way. It kind of gets easier to look at yourself over time. As you kind of get used to your new face. Took me a month for my face to really settle in.
Oh God.
Yeah.
How do you even deal with this?
I think that's an ongoing process. But I just try to think of the things that, I don't know, kind of make me human, like Raven said before. Like my name, changing clothes when they're dirty, not calling humans kind, calling them people. I do it on purpose. Because the minute that you start thinking that they're not people, that's when things get ugly. At least that's what I'm told.
That's when things get ugly.
Yeah.
She stops looking at you and your reflection in the mirror and turns to you. She tries to straighten up. You've come to realize that, given your stature, she almost towers over you. Though she's smaller
I
than
thought we were the
most.
same height.
No. No, you are correct. You two are both fairly young. That's my fault. I do apologize.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's at this point she continues to wash her face, her hands. She seems to have no qualms about stripping down right to bra and panties for what they are. Not really that appealing though, as you end up looking along her back, and it's like her ribs have grown fangs that are poking out just along her sides. Her spine is poking or jutting out just a bit more. She almost looks anemic. She's just focusing on washing the blood off her, leaving the bloody rags she ends up wearing in a corner.
I'm pretty sure Rashad has a washing machine somewhere. If they're not torn, we can wash them if you want.
Thanks. Thank you, Mouse.
Yeah.
So when Nightmare left, he went to the furthest room away from everyone that he could find.
Just you and your beast.
Yep. And if anyone were listening from the outside, you could essentially hear us arguing. Who's right and who's wrong, essentially. Just trying to remember what it is I'm supposed to be doing right now. Struggling so hard.
What do you find?
It's like...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
It's like looking at yourself in the mirror, forgetting who you are. I'm trying so desperately to hear the voices that brought me here in the first place. At least died. What my mom used to tell me, what father, before he disappeared, was like. It was a much simpler time then. It's so hard to remember.
You're alone in the dark. Deep underground. Just in the far away, you end up having a individual who's just recently found their way back. Mouse and them are alone. Think she ate the kid yet?
I would have heard something by now if she tried.
Oh, you think so?
She's not exactly quiet.
No. But he ain't exactly strong like you, eh?
That matters. Faster than I am. Better at hiding than me, too.
And he's right beside her, plain as day.
And yet, still don't hear a single thing.
Just like how you like it, right? Nobody hears anything. Quiet.
You can't blame me for hating the way people shrink, can you? Oh wait, of course you can. You complain about everything.
Oh, come on. I don't complain.
You're not eating them fast enough. You're not draining them dry. Come on, Nightmare, you can do it. It's for your own good. I'm so sick of hearing that.
Yeah, but I'm right out here. And I'm ready to rock and roll when you are. So ready. Nightmare.
If I could tear you out of me, I would.
Yeah. If I could tear me out of me, I'd do it too. But that's not how this works. You know that. So what's our next move? Gonna make an example out of the suit, maybe. Or maybe we need to end up showing Raven hers ain't as big as she thinks.
Why the hell are you bringing those two into this?
Already in this.
What we're going to do next is what I decide to do.
For now. I'll be
Or-
waiting.
You still can't let go of last time, can you?
You get a feeling of amusement, or maybe of anticipation, but nothing more.
This has always been my one way or another. I'm done with failing. That's what this was. This whole time I've been thinking like a Nosferatu, always sneaking around, picking off prey without them ever noticing that I forgot what I was before all this. I used to sneak around in front of people's noses. Legally. Maybe I should stop thinking like a monster, think more like an agent. Thinking like a monster got me nowhere in 14 years. Except down in a fucking ditch, surrounded by mud and bugs. So then, Nightmare. Stop being Nightmare for a second. What would Neville do?
And I guess we'll have to find out. At this point, the scene fades, and we return back upstairs. Rashad, driver's getting
Yes.
the car ready as you are making your way into the room. Chunk does not look like he is doing too well with his laying on his chest. His back seems to be covered by some kind of personnel armor flipped backwards, bound tight by the straps. Raven seems to be trying to end up keeping hold of the situation.
Okay. Hold on, Chunk. The car will be here any moment. You are not dying.
Right.
I cannot. He will be
What,
here
you had to
quickly
get
as
a guy to it? What? Can't you drive? Don't you have a set of keys? Don't you have your own personal car? Don't you have anything? Or are you fucking reliant on everyone else?
I am reliant on myself when it has to be, when I have to be.
Yeah, well, right now this guy is bleeding out and he's reliant on both of us.
He does look tasty, Raven.
Oh no. If anyone is getting my thanks tonight, it'll be that bitch downstairs.
Alright. I'm happy either way.
He'll be here.
Almost as though on cue, the car pulls up to the front. Definitely one of yours.
Okay, he's here. Quickly, let's get Chunk into the car. We need to go.
And moving him like this may send him into shock. But we gotta try, okay? Shit.
We're gonna have to try.
You take the legs, I'll take the front.
All right.
Raven, I'll need you to end up rolling me a strength plus medical +2 because you have assistance. Or pardon, +1 because you have assistance. It's not a bestial crit, so nothing terrible happens. Alright.
5 successes.
5 successes. You are bound and determined. Okay. You end up trying to end up taking him very carefully. His forehead seems to be almost scraping the ground. He is heavy. He is so heavy.
This is probably not what he had in mind for weight loss. If that even fucking crossed his mind.
He's definitely getting a pay raise after this.
Yeah, maybe a fucking treadmill as well.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
weight loss program is definitely going to help with this.
It's at this point the individual who's driving opens up and he looks at the situation. Starts to move towards the back, opening the car door. Looks to Mr. Seraph. Sir, should I end up opening the trunk for Chunk?
I think putting him in the back would be the best idea. He needs to get out of the vehicle as quickly as possible.
Dear God, he's still alive?
Barely. With any hope, he will live past this night. We need to hurry now.
Yes, sir. He starts to end up trying to assist, and it doesn't take much to be able to get Chunk in. He ends up rushing to the driver's side, as I have no doubt that Mr. Seraph is going to stay by his loyal bodyguard.
Yep.
Raven would be in the back because she can keep better chair trunk. Seraph, Rashad, go in the passenger seat. Go up front. Just give me room to move and to work back here.
Very well.
Yeah. It's tough without the right medical tools, Raven. You were not prepared for this situation. You're doing everything you can to try and hold things together.
Yeah, I'm also not technically used to working on humans.
That being said, Raven, would you be able to roll me a wits plus medical at this point? You're not trying to keep him alive, I just want to see if you notice something. Raven, it's difficult, but you do notice something. You notice that Chunk has stopped bleeding. His breathing's still really shallow, but he has stopped bleeding.
Specifically, he is still bleeding, or breathing.
He's still breathing. If you take a closer look, and you realize that it seems like almost his blood vessels have swollen themselves shut.
I think it's working.
Good.
What's working, sir?
Don't worry about it. Quickly to the hospital.
Stitches, they're helping slow down the bleeding. We may have a chance to actually get him to a hospital alive. Go.
Yeah. So at this point, he's going to end up starting to drive, and Raven, I'm going to need a higher low.
Hi.
You drive by a squad car. I should say when I drive by, I mean literally you blitz past, you're doing 70 in a 40 zone. And for a brief moment, your heart sinks as you think, okay, they got us dead to rights. They're going to pull us over. They're going to delay. Something bad's going to happen. And by some miracle, maybe too busy eating a donut, or maybe it's just not worth it tonight. You managed to drive off. guess at this point, you continue going towards the hospital. And we'll end up picking up that scene in a moment. Unless there's something you two want to do while you're driving off.
Not with a kind in the car.
Not really, no.
Alright. We're going to focus back. Nightmare, you've had a moment to bring temperatures down a bit. You haven't heard a peep out of Mouse yet.
Oh, it's about time that I go check on him. Here, all right.
Yeah. You end up walking down this corridor, this bunker Rashad Seraph has located under this facility. You open the door with the key card. Mouse, what does he see?
I am just, I'm just kind of standing there, having had a conversation with Jamie, and if she's moved out of the bathroom, I would have collected her clothes to see if I could get them washed.
Okay. So, Nightmare, you run into a very weird scene where you see Mouse has in his hands a bunch of bloody clothes, and Juliet, her figure is in full form. She's literally wearing just the barest of essentials, and you can see what the transformation has done to her body. You're convinced she has no intestines. It just gets very, very narrow. You can see that the rib cage actually has what looks like teeth, much like the sides of her face, are actually poking out under or outside of her sides and wrapping around, like following like a second external set of ribs. And her body seems to be just a little bit disjointed. And with her back to you, you can see that her spine is protruding a bit. She turns to you, and you can see that her hair is still damp. She's clearly just finished washing up, despite the fact that what she does wear still has a bit of blood stains on it, though maybe she's had a quick shower in them. She looks to you, and very little shyness to her. She gives you a nod in recognition that you're here. Or maybe she just doesn't want to make eye contact given the situation.
I also nod back to her, and what you see, Nightmare looks a little more stiff than normal. It's almost like his eyes are colder, and his body is a little more tense. But he still nods to Juliet, and then looks to you. Mouse, could I speak to you for a minute?
Sure. I need to find laundry.
Juliet, please excuse us.
Alright.
Or,
She can stay in this room. We can leave.
yes, that's what I meant. And then we both leave, and I close the door behind us.
I make sure that there's nothing blocking the locking mechanism at this point.
Okay. Roll me a perception wits.
Wits awareness.
Wits
you mean?
awareness. Playing too much D&D. Seems clear.
All right. I'm not going very far though, just yet.
I just need.
What's up?
We need to talk about what happened.
Okay.
We weren't careful enough. It's clear she's been hungry, but we haven't been paying enough attention to our surroundings. What
That's
happened
fair.
was, all in all, our fault for not keeping an eye on her.
Okay. I am aware that these things need to be better tracked. Like
Good.
the fact that she slipped some cardboard in the door or something. I made sure to check that. Just
Good.
now.
But that's not all we need to worry about.
What are
The
you talking
fact
about?
of the matter is, she did not try to escape for no reason.
Yeah, she was fucking hungry.
Can we be sure that's all, though?
Well, yes, I'm suspicious that maybe she was trying to get away to actually get away, but
I'm not saying that we shouldn't give her the benefit of the doubt, but the benefit of the doubt should always be questioned, too. We cannot assume either way that she is guilty of anything or innocent either. What
I'm not
saying is we need-
assuming anything.
I know. All I'm saying is we need to make sure, for certain, that nothing is going on with her. That she has no contact at all with the FBI.
How do you suggest we do that?
I
Because
don't know yet. But I know we have to set some kind of trap.
what? The fuck are you even talking about?
We don't know if she is still in contact with them. We need to find out if she is. The only way to do that is to wave cheese in front of the rat. It turns out that nothing is wrong. No harm done. If it turns out she's been lying to us and she's still on their roll, we could be in big trouble.
I'm definitely suspicious. It's always a good thing to have healthy suspicion.
Keep an eye out, Mouse.
Obviously.
I need to go out for a bit. I have to talk with Raven, see what her thoughts on the matter are.
Okay. I don't... The way that that guy looked, I don't know if they're still here.
I don't suspect they are, but I'm not just going out to talk with Raven. I also need a bite to eat.
Okay.
You can come along if you wish, but we need to make it quick.
Oh, well, I'm okay for now. I'll be okay. I'm just gonna find laundry.
Alright.
I'm gonna
And I'll be
quickly
back
double check that the
shortly.
door's locked.
Door is locked. If Nightmare leaves with that key, you don't think you're getting in or out anywhere.
Okay.
Well, for now, I suppose we might have to use the old cardboard in the door for you to get back in after all. I can't leave you stranded after all. Someone's gotta watch it.
I will stay here.
Alright.
I will unlock the door with the key card, and knock before opening the door.
Okay. So you're unlocking the room with Juliet, just to be clear.
Yes.
It's... At this point, Juliet is, well... She seems to be laying down on the bed, hands behind her head, staring up at the ceiling when you end up coming in. At first, the instinct to pull a pillow in front of her to cover herself starts to kick in, but as soon as she ends up realizing who it is, she tries to let it slide. So have you decided what to do with me yet?
We're not
We're
doing
gonna keep
anything.
feeding you.
Mm-hmm.
See what sticks.
Okay.
I hope you didn't think we were just gonna give up on you because of the little incident.
I understand.
There's also someone
I wouldn't have let him give up anyway.
Thanks, Mouse. Thank you.
There's also someone we wish for you to meet at some point soon. That can wait for now. Mouse is gonna be around working at the laundry and keeping an eye on you to make sure that you get what you need.
And what am I supposed to do?
Make yourself comfortable for now.
Watch TV.
I'll be out for a bit. I will return soon.
Alright. Wasn't the TV in the lounge room, though? Thought I'm not supposed to leave this room.
I'll be leaving this room and the lounge open. You can move back and forth. Once I leave, neither of you will be able to get out of here, just a warning. Out until Rashad and Raven get back.
Alright. Thank you, Nightmare. And I'm sorry.
They all get hungry sometimes. You're not the only one that's done regrettable things to have hunger. You can see there's a bit of a look on his face. It's like half remembering, half disgusted with himself.
Oh, don't we all know that feeling all too well?
And I will put up pieces of cardboard on the doors for this room and the rec room, or whatever. Make sure that I see her in the room before I go up that elevator.
Okay. She doesn't seem to fight it at all. And you start to head up. Nightmare, you head up the elevator, leaving Mouse to be looking for laundry, or a place to end up doing it at this point.
Yep.
Mouse, don't you just feel like the house mother right now? High or low? I have no doubt.
High.
I have no doubt he has all the amenities here. The question is more, can you find it? Oh,
Hey.
wow. You want to know what? It's so obvious. Like, you would have it in the center right here. This is the room. Hey, sweet. It's not even coin operated.
Sick.
Yeah. Okay. Mouse, would you be able to roll me, actually, wits plus awareness when you do this?
Yep, I'm keeping my eye on everything.
Okay. You do. There's no wallet. There's no purse. It's not even a cell phone. There's nothing in her pockets. Except one thing. A crumpled up photograph. You're just pulling out all the pieces out to try and make sure that, you don't wash something as you aren't supposed to. Like a good mother hen. But as you start to go through, that's the only thing that seems to be in her pockets at this moment.
Is it like crumpled or is it
Yeah.
folded?
It is crumpled. Almost in that angry way. Like it's rolled into a ball. Tighten it.
I'm going to open it up.
Okay. You see a picture. And this picture is that of a not too old gentleman. He probably is in his early 30s. Fairly lean. Unshaven. And he seems to be seen on a pier, summer's day, sunglasses on as he is casting off the dock, not far from, well, actually on the piers. You recognize it. You were there not too long ago. Except this photo seems older. The styles seem different. Just the styles of dress. Maybe 1990, late 90s, early 2000s?
I kind of just fold it back up and set it aside. Make sure that there's nothing else in the pockets that shouldn't be washed.
Right. There's nothing else when you start to end up running it. It's cold to keep blood out, right? As you end up saying everything up. Do you do anything else?
No, once that started, I would take the photo back to her.
Okay. She seems to be now. You see an upturned garbage can. There's no garbage on the floor. The room hasn't been used enough for it. But you see that the garbage bag has been removed and has been pulled out and placed over the nice leather couches that are facing the TV, as she seems to be like using the remote to click past rerun after rerun after rerun.
Pretty sure you didn't want this washed. And I just hold up the photo.
She grabs hold of it, looks at it for a second, places it face down on the coffee table up front. Yeah, thank you. She continues to click. Eventually it reaches the news. She just starts listening. It's nothing really important. Something about commemorative walk for the recent tragedies that have been going on. A report on flan addiction. A report on our ships as good as they were back in the 1980s. Check this report coming up next. Just watching. She's just watching for something.
I'm listening to see if there's anything of interest. But if not, I'm just gonna sit.
Okay. These two predators sitting in a moment of awkward silence, huh?
A little bit. I don't know what to say. I'm bad with words. But, after a moment of just watching the news, just kind of pipe up. Think that was interesting?
Which part?
I don't know. Didn't seem interesting to me, but that's just me.
It is. Flan was here in a flash and gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of addicts out there. A lot of
Yep.
people still looking for it.
They will be for a while, I'm sure.
Why is that?
That's how addicts work, right?
I'd
Can't
like
get
you to
their
roll.
fix.
I'd like you to roll me manipulation plus subterfuge.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, this'll go well.
She looks to you and just kind of nods. Continues to look back. No, it's the drug trade in Detroit. It's tricky.
Kinda, yeah.
She looked. Actually, roll me a insight plus wits or resolve right now.
Okay, the same dice, so.
Everything seems perfectly normal. She just brushed that comment aside. She thinks about this for a moment. Mouse,
Mm-hmm.
I get you don't trust me. Smart. But if that's the case, why are you really helping me? Why'd you stop her?
Because I try to be a good person, as difficult as that might be some days. And there's something that a way older kindred told me once. That he would never turn his back on the brother. Meaning other people, kindred, like me and you. Based on their circumstances.
She puts the mute
And
button on. You have her undivided attention.
And so I wouldn't turn my back on somebody of the same clan as me.
Clan.
That's what it's called. A clan. That's the kind of differentiating factors between different kindred, like Mr. Seraph is one clan and Raven's another one. And then there's our clan.
Our clan.
Mm-hmm. Called Nosferatu.
You're kidding me, right?
No, not at all.
God, I knew we were a bad horror movie. I didn't know we were using it as a flag.
I don't know which came first. No, wait. Hold on. I don't know. But it's a thing.
Huh.
So, yeah.
You either trust me or you don't. But if you do, then maybe you can help me figure this out. If you don't, I think you should stop talking right now. I don't want to get you in any more trouble with the others.
I will admit, I have a healthy suspicion. But I genuinely want to help you. And if you're still in contact with the FBI, I mean, the fact of the matter is I can't know that without reading your thoughts, and I'm not a mind reader.
Is anybody?
Not that I know of. Then again, I don't know much, so...
What do you know? And I think that's where we're gonna fade that conversation. And Mouse, I'm gonna need you to roll me. It's gonna be a resolve. I'll let you choose between leadership or etiquette.
I will go leadership, because I have more stats in that. You said resolve?
Yep.
Resolve leadership.
Long story short, she's going about this one way, you're going about the other, and I'm kind of curious on who wins out. Wow. Crit. 4 successes.
Oh, jeez, I did. What? Okay.
We'll come
That's a
back.
big old messy crit.
I want you to remind me of that when we get back to this. But we got to go to the hospital next. It's at this point, officers, well, I should say paramedics, rush out. Rashad, it doesn't take a genius to know that at this point, it's almost like you were expected or something along those lines. It might have had something to do with the fact of how you were driving or something along those lines, but you managed to get to the hospital and almost immediately there's a gurney rolled out before you even managed to step out of the car.
Good. I immediately get out of the car and start getting Raven to help me put Chunk on the.
Yeah. Most of the paramedics are trying to tell you, no, don't
Yeah.
lift him, leave it to medical
At this
professionals.
point, I'm stepping back. I'm letting the professionals take this over. Especially as soon as I get the chance, I am slipping away from this scene. I cannot be here.
Why can't you be here, Raven? What's going on?
Amongst the fact that I am still technically on the FBI's wanted list, and I don't know where they'd be watching. Especially if cops show up and people start asking questions. That's not a situation I want to be around for.
No, I suppose not. Especially knowing what territory this is. Belonging to the corpse.
Yeah. I'm quite happy to leave Rashad to deal with that one because he seems to be on better terms with them than I am.
I can handle this.
Yeah. Rashad, you see a familiar face. Familiar face who's trying to assist the paramedics at this time of night. The person whose domain you are in the middle of right now. She gives you a quick glance before she moves on to continue to check on Chunk's wounds. She's giving out a fair amount of intel, as everybody seems to be marching very much to the beat of her drum, taking him into the hospital. She grabs
one
hold of
thing-
him. Go ahead.
One thing I will do before I slip away is sort of grab Richard's shoulder and just whisper into him, if there's anyone here you know, let them know what we did. They will need to cover up his recovery.
All right.
No.
That shit ain't natural.
Understood.
Raven, you end up seeing
Yeah.
one of the nurses, and she seems to be walking towards you two.
I step back. Because me and Richard make quite the odd couple right now, especially as we're both probably covered in blood.
Yeah, but to be understandable. Mr. Seraph, right? You are the employer? She is reading the chart. The nurse seems fairly soft-spoken.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Is it okay? I need to end up pulling you and your assistant aside for a few questions. We need to end up doing this in order to end up gaining an understanding, medical history concerns, insurance, that kind of thing. Don't worry, sir. They'll take good care of him.
Good to know. Sadly, she is not a part of this, and I motion to Raven, so she will not have useful information in any.
Raven, are you currently using Blush of Health?
I am not, no.
Yeah.
I am still also technically on 2 aggravated damage.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to cover that up, but I'm going to give it a shot. So, let's see here. You're trying to hide, so this is going to be medicine plus wits. Only one success. If you can roll me manipulation plus subterfuge.
Straight manipulation.
Huge dice pool, but sometimes that's not going to save you. Yeah, it's 1-to-1, but she's the one that's currently performing the action, so she wins out in that one. Barely. She looks to Mr. Seraph for a moment. Mr. Seraph, your assistant, who is not involved in this in the slightest, she wouldn't happen to be a part of the same circles, is that correct?
That will be correct. She is a associate.
Okay. Would you know what? Let's get out of here to this. It's okay. We don't need to end up going through the front. Might you end up both accompanying me? Now, Raven, I need you to roll me. I believe this would be a. I believe it's a resolve plus intelligence, but I'm going to double check that real quick. Intelligence plus resolve, yes. She's a Gen 9, so it's going to be modifier plus 2. Wow. Ooh. Okay. Maybe this is a tip of the hand. Maybe this is an expression to tell you exactly where you stand. Oh, wow. But you get the impression, like, you feel it. Maybe this has never happened to you before, or maybe it has. But you kind of need to fight the compulsion to just start walking with Mr. Seraph and this nurse.
Do I get the sense of where this compulsion is coming from?
it seems to be that you just feel the need. Okay, she said walk, we're walking. Wait a second. When the hell did I become that agreeable? I want to get out of here. Why am I... That little bit of confliction. You don't have to, but it takes a bit to fight. By the way, fantastic rolling, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Jesus. I turn to look at Rashad and say, "It's your call. I'm ready to run.
We should be fine.
I'm ready to go."
Very well. Let's go.
Mr. Seraph, are you accompanying this nurse, or are you running as Raven's suggesting?
I'm following the nurse.
Raven, you're following Mr. Seraph?
Raven rolls and goes, "Fine. Christ. Still got issues to deal with back at fucking base. Jesus Christ, we don't have time for this shit." Like, just muttering under her breath as she follows them in.
Is it loud enough that somebody might overhear you?
Not that loud, no.
Okay.
More enough so that she's muttering, but nothing's really enunciated.
Yeah.
Mm.
You notice that the nurse pulls you aside, and it's a little darker in here. It's a little bit of ways. This might be mistaken for, a nurse catching up with family on a break on shift. As she ends up speaking up a little bit. Allow me to properly introduce myself. Baron Issa Creed.
Ah.
She gestures with a hand, as in, go ahead, state your introduction.
I'm Raven of the Nightlife Coterie, and I really didn't want to be here.
Raven of the Nightlife Coterie. I appreciate your situation and your apprehension. However, let it be said that the corpse has allowed that territory to you. And we were in full support of you maintaining domain there. Let it also be said that I'm not without sympathy for your plight right now. But I need to know exactly what is going on in order to end up keeping this from becoming public knowledge. My placement makes it very particular, and particular information cannot get out. I need to know in order to help you.
Out of character, do I know that Rashad and Nightmare visited her earlier tonight?
Rashad, I don't think you mentioned anything about... Or you did mention a Baron. You didn't say which
Yes.
Baron. You did mention a Baron, though. Perhaps you may have assumed it was Mason that they were speaking with.
Would you allow me to put two and two together?
I will most certainly allow you.
I'm like, you're the one who got us the organs. That makes sense. You work at a hospital. That's smart.
Thank
Okay.
you very much, Raven of the Nightlife.
The kindred we're trying to help with these organs apparently couldn't wait for a snack. She attacked the security guard. I'm trying to keep him alive. He's got some of Mr. Richard's blood in him. I saw that's affecting some of the wounds. I believe at least he's healing a lot faster than he should be. He's still breathing, though. I don't think he's changing.
I will end up endeavoring to end up making sure that the individual ends up arriving under Mr. Rashad's care, Mr. Seraph. But that being
Thank
said,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Miss Raven? She raises as though she's waiting to be corrected.
That'll do.
Miss Raven, I understand from what I've heard that you're very apprehensive around individuals who are of my particular near stripe. And I imagine this must be of great strain for you to end up maintaining a certain measure of decorum.
That could be a polite way of putting it, yes, but at the same time I do not want to offend, as I realize right now we are heavily in your debt.
I will ask for one moment, and we will consider it even for the covering. This will be a very simple matter. Raven, you may not care for me or my kind or my like. I can respect that. But I need to end up making something very clear. We are of the same stripe in the end. We value individual, they have freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of one's own vision. That being said, you are all so young. And I try not to speak of this as your elder, but as a sister in arms. If we are to end up getting through this, we need all hands on deck. That is the expression, yes?
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, I feel no animosity, and I consider it a great show of respect for one such as you to trying to emulate hospitality, even if you do not fully understand it. I consider that a great honor. She looks as though she's trying to gauge your reaction.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of at a loss for words here, Baron. I do not do this stuff well. Your worst is probably on par with my best.
And yet, the attempt is made. You have a lot to learn. Do you have access to a mala of any sort? A tutor?
We do, but I haven't seen him since the Troubles.
I'm not sure if I should judge that as incredibly smart or incredibly foolish. Perhaps it's not my place to judge. Miss Raven, I give you leave and full pardon upon my domain. If at any point you feel the need to come to conflict with anyone in my domain, seek me out and allow me to do my duty of office. A simple show of respect.
I will keep that in mind.
With that being said, I'll leave you to it. I must play my part in the masquerade. She gives a slight nod to you. She might go into full regalia if it wasn't for the fact that the number one rule of which binds you all would prevent her. So she places the clipboard underneath. Mr. Seraph, that should be everything, and we'll give you full... Yeah, we will give you contact as soon as he wakes up.
Thank you. This is very much appreciated.
Yeah. She turns to you, Raven. Yeah. Elijah, just try and stay calm. We'll get him out of this.
Yeah, it'll be good to know what happened to him. Yeah.
All right. You two try and get some rest tonight. Clean yourselves up. It'll be a long one. With that, this unsuspecting nurse, a powerhouse in the corpse domain, and one you technically fall under, takes her leave.
We need to get back to the building as quickly as possible.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. Oh, Jesus. If I still had a beating heart, it would be in my throat right now.
Yeah. It's at this point you get to the car, and the driver ends up, looking to you. Yeah, Mr. Sheriff. Is Chunk gonna be alright?
I believe so.
Oh, thank fucking Christ. Okay. So are we... I mean, what the fuck happened?
I'll have to explain that to you another time. At the moment, I need to get back to the building.
Mr. Seraph, with all due respect, what I saw there, that shit wasn't right, and I'd like to at least know. I mean, if I'm in danger, I would like to at least know that.
I guarantee you that the situation has been dealt with. This should not ever happen again.
Roll me a charisma leadership.
Okay.
He doesn't seem completely calm, but he's like, Mr. Seraph will get us through this. We'll be alright. Okay. He starts to drive. And he seems to not be paying too much attention. If you two need to speak, you can do so quietly. Or you can wait.
I'll wait till we're inside the building.
Very well.
Yeah.
That leaves us with one other code to remember to account for. Nightmare. You're out hunting, if I understand this correctly, yes?
Yes, but I also said that partially to not worry, Mouse. I also want to do a little bit of investigating on my own.
Okay. You imagine that it's probably going to take at least an hour before everybody gets back, and that's if they hurry.
Yes.
So you probably got 45 minutes to yourself.
I need to feed first. Need to check out the Red Ribbon Parade.
Alright. So we're going to do 2 then. I want you to roll me, well, however you choose to feed, but I understand your preference. The difficulty,
Yes.
You don't have feeding restriction, correct?
I have a feeding restriction that can only feed on women.
Still, it's a feeding restriction, so it would be difficulty 5 going up to 6.
Okay, and I get any, because what I do is mostly breaking in, so do I get my break-in or lock-picking specialties?
Yes, you do. You get 1 specialty.
Still. I'm gonna re-roll.
You can also win at a cost.
What's the cost?
It's going to take you 1 aggravated willpower.
You know what? Sure. I'll take it.
Alright.
I don't have time to waste.
Yeah. You don't even hesitate. You start scaling fire escapes. And you just kind of, that way where you just kind of lift a window just to check, like, is this left open? Is this left open? Is this left open? And you just kind of observe. The hard part isn't finding a place to break into. The hard part is covering yourself in case something goes wrong. So you eventually find one in the 3rd story where you can raise, after jimmying the lock a bit, you can raise the window. You creep into the room, and it seems to be an older gentleman. He seems to live on his own. You would see anime posters all around. Is that a body pillow?
Yeah.
What kind of freaks are these? Well, at least not whatnot. Now, what hunger are you at?
3.
Okay. And you're still a little aggravated, aren't you?
I've calmed down significantly, but I'm not exactly cheerful right now.
No, I imagine not. Alright. Given the fact you're only at 3 hunger, I'm not going to have you roll a frenzy check right now. But how are you taking? 1, 2, 3?
I'm taking 2.
Okay.
I'm not risking leaving a body behind.
Okay. You feed. Sinking your fangs into him, you can see him just kind of writhing a bit, as though he's having a very, very pleasant dream. You drink, and it's at this point I am going to roll some dice. No. You lose whatever resonance you had before. This one's not potent enough to replace, but it'll at least get you through. Slipping through the window. Your feet hit the ground of the alley as you quickly descend. And you begin to prowl the night once again. Thankfully, these are your stomping grounds. So, you said you're going to do some investigation.
Yes, I am. When I see people, I'll do unseen passage.
Okay.
Specifically, the red armband people. But
Fair enough. Let me just check something real quick. That being said, I'm going to have you roll me a...
I need to do rouse real quick for unseen passage.
Yep.
Got a little hungrier.
Not a problem. I am, however, going to need a roll for investigation plus... No, you're on a tight schedule, so you're going to use wits instead of resolve. Normally I would say
Okay.
resolve, but it seems this is more of a get her done situation.
Alright. I don't think I have any specialties for this.
No, but you are on your own domain.
Okay.
We're going to add 2 dots, because you have 2 dots lane, if I recall.
Mm-hmm. Alright. 3.
Nice. You do, in fact, see a pairing. Young couple, for the most part. And they have a showing of these red armbands placed over their left arms. They seem to be a couple as they're walking down the street. They gesture to one another as you end up seeing others. Every time they interact, they just walk over, give a nod in recognition. Sometimes they'll even hug the person. You'll hear them say, "It's gonna be alright. Walk with pride. Walk with pride." And they continue. Now, what are you following for? What are you trying to find now that you found them?
I don't believe Raven told us about their hideout, did they?
No, she didn't.
So, a hideout, a reason for why they've been hugging everyone, what kind of Kool-Aid they've been drinking, possibly even a ringleader.
Okay. They repeat the same sentence over and over. Walk with pride. They straighten up after they tell each other this, and they continue to pass one another. Eventually, after tailing this group, then this group, you do find that a few of them have gathered. This place isn't too welcoming. It's less of an alleyway and more just a tiny space between buildings as they end up gathering. There, you see an odd figure. A nun of some sort. What you do know is that she has a burn on the side of her face. Almost looks like that of a cross, like a hot piece of metal was just pressed to it. Her face is horribly disfigured, but she speaks with them. It's quite alright. We'll be fine. Don't ever let them know that that you feel weak and tired. Those are the moments that let you know who you really are. I know you've all lost. We've all felt it. Homes burned. People lost. Families destroyed. But that's why we're here. We're here to help one another in understanding this. Don't weep for the dead. Don't cry for yourself. Stand firm. Brick by brick, we rebuild. And she speaks a strange phrase. Aye liritu.
Does that sound familiar at all?
Roll me intelligence plus occult.
Is this a language thing, by the way, or is
No, this is very much a kindred thing.
intelligence occult?
Yep, intelligence occult. You're gonna need 4 successes. This is fairly niche. You can succeed at a cost. It would be the same cost, but
Aggravated willpower?
yep.
You know what? I'm doing it.
Okay.
I've still got 2 I can use.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a man on a mission.
You remember that. It was something strange. It was something that Screw said. Screw used to use that, especially in moments of pain. Whether he's inflicting it on you, or whether he was inflicting it on himself, as sick as he could be. But every time, in moments of horrible suffering, no matter who was receiving, he would say, "I a lily too."
That's something I'm going to look into. And I actually might know someone who can help. Someone a little older. Who said that if I ever needed anything, I should go to her.
Still, you're running out of time. The others should be coming back pretty soon.
I'm going to take what I can and
Higher
head
level.
back. Hi.
There's something wrong with this nun outside of the scars. There is this weird feeling as you moved. You swear for a second that her eyes just kind of looked up at you, then went back to the crowd. Like she could see you. No one else seems to react as she continues to comfort and console.
That at least gives me a hint of her nature.
Or the possibility of what she's capable of.
At the very least.
We're gonna head back to Rashad's place. And it's at this point we're going to assume that it was Raven and Rashad that arrived first.
You did want to resolve my messy crit, right?
I did, but I will resolve it when you enter the scene.
Okay.
Alright. Mr. Seraph, Miss Raven, you're alone.
I need to make sure that the... Oh, go ahead.
Before we head down there and things probably get ugly again, I'm glad your guard isn't dead.
Thank you.
Okay, and the Baron kind of I don't like you. I will never ever like people like you. That's just who I am.
I understand this.
But for what it's worth, I know you're putting a lot on the line to help us, and I'm grateful. And that's really, really fucking hard for me to say.
It's not a problem. At the end of the day, I want all of us to make it out of this situation alive. Or,
I think we're a bit past that, but
you know what I meant.
I do. And just to clarify, this isn't an offer of friendship. But at the same time, I think we can work together.
Those words are very comforting.
Yeah, well, now let's go see about staking a bitch.
It's at this point, you swear you heard the door, but you don't notice anyone until a familiar face appears. Nightmare, it took so much effort to strain the blood that far.
Nightmare looks exhausted. Less hungry than when you last saw him, but exhausted.
Looks like you've been busy tonight.
Scattering
Couldn't
some
sit around
ashes.
him. Not exactly. Found out some information. We can discuss that mouse.
So what happened while we were trying to keep Chunk together?
We brought Juliet down. He was able to calm herself. We fed her, only for her to hack it back up moments later.
Great.
Wasn't
this is
fresh
for
enough.
fucking Nothing. So
Seems like
we're
you-
gonna keep a starving, unstable fucking vampire in the cellar? Is that what we're gonna fucking do?
We need to bring her to Mason. Or
Yeah, and how many other
bring Mason to her.
fucking jump on the way? Look, I ain't saying we kill her, but we could stake her.
I'd
Forget
rather
that you
not
can
have that happen.
I get that you don't trust her. I have my suspicions as well, Raven.
Yeah, because a guy very nearly fucking died tonight because of that. Okay, I have made it known since day one that this is a bad fucking idea. How many more mistakes, how many more cock-ups, how many more lives is this person gonna take?
You should look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself the same thing before judging someone else.
None of us are clean.
None of us are. I know that I've done worse than her. I'm sure you have too. And yet you're still here. So am I. Not staked.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't fucking eat organs. We don't eat
No, we just drain people dry and leave them to die.
Yeah, but we try not to. What, should we teach her surgery? Have her go selective? You only need one kidney after all. How many can there be in fucking Detroit? Half that number. That should keep her going for a few years at least.
We can't help the flaws we have. We have to live with them and learn to work around. She
Out
needs
of
help,
character.
and I.
Sorry to interrupt. Out of character, would Nightmare's been around for 14 years. Has he ever heard of someone like changing their dietary habits?
Sometimes it's possible, but that's more changing how they go about feeding. You've never heard of one being able to start on one thing and then move on to another that didn't end up becoming escalation. Typically, as of the kindred ages, the hunger only gets worse. For the most part, Nightmare, you should be able to end up feeding on a rabbit or a dog. You should be able to feed on a horse. But there are some kindred who they can't get anything from it. It's a wasted kill. I mean, hell, there's even some rumors that, some kindred will need to feed on other kindred. Though those are rumors.
I'm gonna kind of whisper to myself, at least she doesn't feed on us.
Yeah, I'm sure she tried that as well.
You won't know until you ask her. Regardless, you can't
I am
just
not
stick
going
her.
down there. If you are letting her walk around, then I will find my own fucking place to sleep.
Feel free
We all
then.
know. No, this is me being 100% honest. We all know that if I go down there, it is a fucking powder keg. If you are insistent on keeping these fucking kid gloves on and not treating her like the threat she fucking is, then I'm not going down there.
Nightmare just turns around to face you, Raven, and he seemed off when he walked in the door, but he's just kind of glaring at you with these ice-cold eyes. If you don't think I'm taking this seriously, go ahead and find somewhere else to sleep. I'm done with the kitty gloves, Raven. I'm taking this as seriously as I can.
Really? Because it seems to me like you're not neutralizing the fucking threat. That's an FBI term, isn't it?
Raven, Nightmare. I want from you charisma plus intimidation. Actually, we're going to make this opposed charisma and intimidation. You guys are starting to get really catty. Oh shit. Yeah. So that's a loss by 2 successes. Raven, you take 2 superficial willpower damage.
Which means I'm at willpower 0.
Yeah. Nightmare just is giving you this glare. Like, this bit of you are starting to push buttons you don't want to push. You can sometimes forget on how terrifying he can be.
Fuck this, fuck you. If you want to defend her, all your fucking knots are the same. Raven's walking. She's leaving.
How much time do we have left?
3:30, 4 o'clock. Raven, where are you going to stay?
She has no idea.
Okay. Just to be aware, this is dangerous.
Yeah, Raven is not thinking clearly right now, and she would not back down from this.
Alright.
If Nightmare wants to put his foot down on the side of the person who has nearly fucking killed someone, then Raven is feeling betrayed. She is feeling betrayed by the coterie right now.
Alright. Raven starts to make her leave from the room, heading out the front entrance.
As soon as she leaves, I'm going to turn back around and essentially hit the elevator silently. But as soon as if Rashad's in there with me, as the elevator closes, he's going to say, probably for the best that she leaves. I don't want her doing anything she'll regret.
I hope this is the correct decision.
It's the only one we can make right now.
I'm trying to think real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have another building where it would be safe for Raven to go temporarily?
None that are open at night. I mean, you'd have to end up fishing out keys, get in contact with management, because guess what? As soon as that building opens up and they catch a corpse that it has pink hair in it, you imagine some complications might show up. The advantage and disadvantage of not having some of your employees in the know. They can't betray you, but they become a lot less flexible.
Yeah. There's nothing I can do to help right now. Not with this short amount of time.
Does Raven see a landline on her way out? Or any form of phone? Because she currently does not have one.
High or low?
Well, let's go low.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an old payphone. I mean, you're not even sure if the receiver works. It looks cracked, but...
She's gonna call a number she hasn't called in a while, thanks to the Baron. She is gonna call Hector.
That being said, as you end up calling Hector, it takes a moment for an old voice catches up. And you run to a voice you haven't heard in a long while. Hey, how you doing, lass?
Not good. I need a place to spend the day.
Yeah. Okay then. All right.
I wouldn't be calling if this wasn't an emergency.
I got you, lass. I got you. I understand. But jeez. Okay, you know what? We'll end up talking when you end up getting here. At least this way I don't have to end up worrying about you end up becoming Sunday night's barbecue.
Yeah, let's avoid that.
Let's. You're too pretty to give up at this point.
Long story, Hector. Just tell me where I need to go. We can talk when I get there.
Right, lass, right. I'll end up seeing you when you get here. With that, he gives you an address. It's gonna be tricky to get there, but you should, if you go at full tilt, especially given some of your abilities, it's completely possible to get there.
I will full tilt it.
Alright. With that, Raven exits the building and the scene. The elevator finally goes down. Nightmare Rashad, what you see is an empty hallway. You don't hear anything. Not at first, at least. Until the briefest of moments, you swear you might hear a TV. Except it's not playing the news or anything like that. Mouse, what's your favorite? What was your favorite show when you were a kid? I mean, really young.
Well, I was definitely a fan of Cartoon Network. When my mom could actually pay for this cable. And I always loved Dexter's Lab.
Dee, what have you done to my lab? You guys hear this shouting of an obnoxious, childlike voice, and this giggling like a schoolgirl. As you come around and you look into the lounge, and you see Mouse currently watching a episode of Dexter's Lab with Juliet, who is literally down to her skivvies. It seems to be sitting there, one arm on for the couch, and seems to be surprisingly like really get together with Mouse right now. Like, this is the most relaxed you have ever seen Jamie at this point. And this might be who you're seeing, no longer this monster, despite the fact of her horrible disfigurement. She seems to at least have found a laugh, at least for a moment. They don't seem to notice you're there yet.
Perhaps we should give it a moment. Speaking softly to Rashad.
Yes, I agree.
I would like to bring something up with you first anyway. Come. And Nightmare leads you a little ways away, still kind of speaking softly. It is definitely best that Raven does not come down here for a while, at least not until we can get Juliet into the hands of Mason. I do not need a fight breaking out. Raven's already injured enough. And Juliet is at least trying her best not to massacre. There is still the question of her loyalties, though. She was trying to leave for some reason, whether it be to get a quick fight or to report. I need your help figuring out which one it was.
What do you need me to do?
Are there any bugs in any of these rooms?
In every room, actually.
No, that contradicts something you earlier told me. You made sure everything was completely clean. Specifically because of breach.
I know I said earlier before that it looks clean,
Okay.
except for my room.
Okay.
My room is the only room not bugged. Everywhere else, it's very concealed because I rolled a very high.
Right,
Definitely
right. Okay, now I remember. Alright. If only your ST took better notes.
I have honestly never been more happy to hear such a thing. I would like you to monitor these from the day that she got here onward for a while. We also need to figure out a way to determine outside of this place if she is still in league with the FBI. We need to set up a trap of some kind. Something that could be harmless if she's not really part of the FBI anymore, but also that could reveal her true nature as a
I see.
What's more, I have a question to ask you, Mr. Rashad.
Hmm.
Do you, or anyone you know, study the occult?
Would I have anyone in mind for that?
Very first thing that comes to mind is Jay. Jay has always been weird like that.
Someone that immediately comes to mind is Jay. Do you remember her? She helped dispose of a body.
Ah, yes, I do vaguely remember her.
She would definitely know.
Well, good. I need to get in contact with her then. I went and looked over the Red Armband Brigade, which is what I'm calling them now. Don't ask questions. They've got a number. I'm going to assume it's some kind of cult now. But she was spouting nonsense about don't worry, everything will be fine. Don't let anyone know you look weak. Then she said something that I remember distinctly from my own sire.
Oh, what would that be?
I'm looking for the word in here. I wrote it down.
Lilitu.
Aye, Lilitu. It was in response to pain anytime I heard it. Whether he was inflicting it on me, himself, or otherwise, it doesn't matter. Anyone with intense pain like that, he would always spout those words. I have a feeling it's connected to this whole red armband thing.
I'll definitely have to get right on with that.
Thank you. I'm glad that Raven is not here for this, especially since her fuse has been rather short lately.
Yes. That reminds me, I need to give her a replacement phone. I think there was someone else. Can't remember.
Me.
Ah, yes.
It was my phone she crushed.
Luckily, I still have a couple backups.
It'll take probably till tomorrow morning to be able to get them, but you can get them in.
Excellent.
With that,
Is there... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, by all means.
You might hate me for what I said, but what I said needed to be said. He's been so full of himself lately. Extremely hypocritical.
I do not disagree with you there. I must say, dealing with Masa's friend is... We need to tread lightly and not act rash.
Still, I can't help but feel a little guilty for driving her away so early in the morning. I just hope she lasts through the night. Give me a chance to apologize later. Right now, though, I need to focus.
With her disposition, I believe she'll survive mostly anything.
One more thing. I would like access to any of the information that you find with Jamie or otherwise, and if you are having trouble finding journalists, I will lend you my aid as well.
Actually, need to check in to see how that's going. Still making progress, but it's still slow.
Alright. Regardless, I would like to look over the recordings you have of Jamie. I'm familiar with the kind of things she's been through. Perhaps I can pick up on something.
All right. I'll get that as soon as possible.
Thank you. Suppose we should interrupt them now, though.
Yes.
At this point, I'll walk over to the door and knock on it gently. It's partially open, but I still knock on it.
Yeah. Mouse, you end up hearing a knocking, which disturbs that wonderful scene where Dee Dee is mixing a whole bunch of chemicals on Dexter's table as he's screaming, "No, no!" And people are turning into dogs and cats and weird stuff. It's kind of psychedelic at this point. Love that scene. Well, you end up hearing.
I look over.
So does Juliet.
It's Nightmare standing at the door, looking at you with a bit of a softer gaze than before. But still, there's definitely something wrong with Nightmare. He's not his usual self.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Enjoy yourselves.
The best Doctor's Lab episode ever. Duh.
Nightmare, are you trying to hide your emotional state right now?
Yes, I would be.
Okay. We should be able to roll me manipulation plus subterfuge.
I'm great at this.
Am I able to roll an insight check?
Very much so.
And you'll probably succeed, but, you know,
2
if
successes.
it could happen. You succeed.
Okay, so Nightmare, can you spell the beans on what's bugging you? What seems to be aggravating you? Don't need to spell out specifics, but what kind of emotional state are you actually in?
In one word, it would be turmoil. It's like he's fighting with himself over what's right and what's wrong, and which version of himself he's supposed to portray right now. If he's supposed to be Nightmare, or if he wants to keep being Neville. He's trying to stay focused, but at the same time, he's trying not to seem like a hard ass.
Mouse, a soft hand is on your shoulder. It's Jamie, as she kind of squeezes your shoulder a bit and makes it kind of clear she's a little nervous on what Nightmare might have in mind.
Well, cool. We're cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we're cool. We're cool. Her eyes are
We're
dead
good.
set on Nightmare right now.
Do you mind if I take a minute,
Yeah.
Jamie? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, okay?
Please don't call me that.
Okay. Be right back.
She nods and pulls her feet up onto the couch. She's still sitting on that garbage bag. Rashad, there's one of your garbages that has been tipped over. There's nothing in it, so it wasn't yet emptied, but you'd see that Juliet is still sitting on a garbage bag protecting the leather sofa.
When Nightmare gets, obviously when Mouse gets closer, Nightmare will kind of nudge his head back away from the door a bit and start walking a little ways away.
And I shut the door behind me as I walk out with him. Do you look disturbed?
Is that obvious?
I can read you like a book. You're not really hiding it.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Mouse. Did you get anything out of her at all?
I don't know that, Derek, if we've had any kind of conversation that didn't involve Dexter's lab.
Hmm? Well, this is where that crit success comes in.
Aha.
Not that she's told you anything, but the big thing you could probably take away from this is that when it's just you and her guard drops heavily. You've impacted her in some way that just allows her to forget for a moment what she is. So if you want to call that progress, but I left it plenty of time to end up getting, like, trying to do some picking, but you weren't going in that direction, so. But you were showing a bit of leadership at one point, so.
Well, if it wasn't obvious, as soon as you walked in the door, she tensed up really bad. So, I don't know. Maybe I've cracked it. I don't know.
Perhaps.
I don't know what it is about me because I am not good with people.
Perhaps that's exactly what it is then. Usually she's at least not intimidated by you.
Yeah.
She doesn't see you as a threat. Which can be good and bad, determined by the circumstances across that. It's a start.
It's a start. And I don't know. She just wants to feel human, I think.
Nightmare can relate to that.
I think she just wants to watch fucking Dexter's Lab for like an hour and feel like she can unwind a little bit. I don't know. It's
You must
weird.
understand, Mouse. I want to trust her. I want to be sure that she's not an FBI agent.
Believe me, I want that more than anything.
And I want her to be able to live a normal, he says with quotation marks, kindred life.
Yeah. I mean,
But there's
everybody does.
something still bugging me.
Like what?
It just seems too easy. She came with us. She had to fight herself, but she was able to fight herself away from Chunk after I had gotten my hands on her to make sure she doesn't go any further. She's trying to retain her humanity. Yes, I get that. But why was she trying to leave in the first place? Did she overhear a conversation of us being on shore?
I mean, she's Nosferatu. She could have heard any of that is when we came back.
The point is, trust has to be mutual. And it was clear that because she tried to run away, she did not trust us. There has to be some way to assure trustworthiness of both parties.
Well, Nightmare, you do know one way. Though it might go up against everything an Anarch stands for.
And what is that?
The blood bond.
That goes against everything E stands for. It's akin to slavery.
Akin to slavery versus akin to massacre.
Either one is just as evil in his eyes. And you can probably see this on Nightmare's face. He's thinking, his face is kind of twisted in disgust at these thoughts.
It helps if you talk out loud, Nightmare.
Getting my thoughts in one piece is hard, Mouse. I've been struggling lately. Trying to fight myself. My true nature versus beast's nature.
Okay? That's not new. Everybody does that every day.
I know. It's worse. I've been thinking as a monster. As a nightmare. For so long that I've forgotten who I used to be. I've been so out of touch with the human side of me that I've forgotten what it was to be.
I mean, that's really the only thing that kind of keeps us sane. It's really the only thing that kind of makes... I don't know.
Do you see my dilemma?
Yep.
I've been trying to protect you all because it was my duty. I am the older kindred. I am responsible for you. I am the unofficial coterie leader. I'm supposed to make sure you're all safe. I've done nothing but get one of our coterie members killed by not being able to teach him.
Speaking of coterie members, where's Raven?
Another mistake of my own. I did not think it was best for her to come down here with Jamie. Loose like she is. She agreed. And sure.
Is she gonna be okay?
She's tough. I'm sure she'll find a way through the day. Did it before we were along.
Mm.
Still, she might hold resentment towards me for it. I will have to accept that.
Rashad, your phone is going off, indicating it's very close to sunrise.
We need to wrap up the conversations. It's almost sunrise. We do not have much time left.
Yeah.
We'll continue this discussion tomorrow. Perhaps some rest will help clear my mind anyway.
Make sure all the doors are locked.
Ah, yes, that reminds me. Can I have my keycard back?
Right. Yes. He pretends that he lost the keycard for a second. Where'd it go? I don't know. Whatever shall I do? He pulls it from behind Rashad's ear. Out there it is.
Very amusing. Wow.
God damn it, Nightmare.
I just take the keycard at that point.
The indignities of it all that a
Mm.
venturer must endure.
We should get Kitty back to her room. Because since it is going to be sunrise soon.
Yes, it should.
Agreed.
So I go in the room, and I suppose with the keycard assistance,
Yep.
go and inform her.
She understands and seems to be willing to follow you wherever you want. Yeah, Mouse.
I show her to her room.
She walks through. Mr. Seraph, this might offend your sensibilities, seeing a woman walking almost buck naked in your establishment. As she ends up heading to her room. Maybe making you
Just
maybe
a
what kind
little
of indecencies that Mouse has perpetrated at this point.
I will have checked laundry by now, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's in the dryer. That's not a problem. You have any idea on how hard it is to get blood out of clothes? Ty Quick Brush does not cover this.
Mm-hmm.
Please remind me in the morning to ask a few questions, and I will acquire a certain item in the tomorrow.
Yes, please do.
What? What'd I do?
Right.
In the background, you hear the television going off as Dexter starts shouting, "Who, Dee? Who?"
At this point, I'm gonna walk into the rec room and turn off the TV. Actually, I'm probably gonna sit down and or stand there and watch it for a little bit, kind of reflect on. Oh yeah, I remember this episode.
Yeah, how many years into the embrace were you when this came out?
I don't know, like 6.
Good to know you had fun while we were gone.
But then I'll turn it off, of course.
It's at that point, kindred take their respective leave of each other to fall to day sleep. Yet elsewhere in the city, there's quite a different conversation going on. Raven, you still with us?
Yeah.
Raven, the house is not really that impressive. One of hundreds that were built the exact same way. Eventually, sitting on the back porch, you end up seeing a gentleman who is just sitting there in a rocking chair. He's shorter now. He's shorter than you might remember. He always wears that stupid cap as he kind of just rocks back and forth in the night wind. As though peering, you can see that he's looking directly where the sun's gonna come up. You do know this man as Hector, an old friend, someone who helped raise you in this life, someone whose advice means a whole lot to you.
You ever thought about seeing it one more time?
How do you know there, lass? I ended up considering it once in a while. And then I ended up realizing you only die once. I mean, really die. Why spoil it and rush the experience?
I know a few people who'd rather go out on their terms.
But were they really ever your terms to begin with?
Well, I definitely didn't fucking ask for this, but let's not even jump onto that pity train.
Ah, pity train. Are we all getting aboard this time? Did I get tickets? Oh shit, I might have forgotten it. How you doing, lass?
Not good, Hector.
Oh. Take a seat. We end up having a bit of time before the show. He kind of just reaches over and opens the door just to double check he didn't accidentally lock it on himself.
Raven will take a seat on the steps, sort of side on, so she can watch the same direction while also see him.
Must be pretty bad if you're calling me.
Yeah, it is.
That's for as much as I'd love to end up offering a lot of insight. I kind of end up needing to know what the fuck's going on.
I don't know what the coterie is anymore, Hector. I don't know what the fucking nightmare is anymore. I don't know what the mouse is anymore. Fucking King is dead, and there's another guy who
Ah,
showed up.
shit. They get him too.
He's the entire reason the fucking trouble started.
Oh, you have got to be shitting me. Oh, fuck. Okay, I have the feeling that I'm in for a long story.
Yeah, this is... I ain't cleaning this either. I've had my fair share of fuck-ups, but...
So, what's really eating at you then, lass? Heart of the matter.
I think they've chosen a side, and I wasn't part of that conversation.
What makes you say that?
They're all bowing and kowtowing to barons and factions beyond us. Meanwhile, we can barely fucking keep hold of our project. I mean, fuck, we haven't visited Fitzgerald in forever. We don't have a haven there. We barely fucking visit there. I mean...
So what you're telling me is you're an absentee landlord.
What I'm telling you is everything is going to shit, and I feel like I'm banging my head up against a brick wall.
Maybe you are.
Nightmare's currently so far up his own arse, I swear.
Well, sorry, child, but you end up having a tendency to living up your own arse here from time to time. I mean, that's what makes you two such a great fucking parent. I mean, all honesty, I was surprised you didn't just crawl up your own ass for Haven, but sure.
You know, I don't hide what I am.
No, you
That's
don't.
the thing that pisses me off the most.
Oh.
I've made mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I have made fuck ups. I have tried to correct those where and as I can. I try to be better. Tonight I saved a guy's life. He was fucking split open, gut strewn, and he's still alive. Tonight.
I would have thought then you'd be fucking celebrating.
Yeah, so would I, except they're fucking taking the side of the person who split them open.
Not gonna lie, if that's the facts, then I can end up seeing why you might be a little miffed.
Well, yeah. Doesn't help that she's technically the sister, sort of said with air quotes, of fucking Mouse, but that's a whole fucking thing.
And that Gutter's boy.
Yeah, this is part of the whole fucking story. But may have to wait until tomorrow morning because we really do not have fucking time for the entire thing tonight.
And I get you. But I'd end up asking you something, Raven. Since you're right to the point, and I do have to end up asking. Why'd this person end up causing the damage in the first place?
I mean, I'll be blunt, they've got fucking self-control issues, and I know that sounds fucking hypocritical. But at the same time, the person who's...
Darling, you've always been a hypocrite, but you've been a consistent hypocrite, and that's why I love you.
I'm gonna lay some shit on. You will have some questions. I will answer them as best I can afterwards.
Alright.
This is a fucking kindred. Turned voluntarily by the fucking FBI.
I thought you said that she was Gutter's kid.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
right. Complicated. I think
Yeah.
I'm understanding. Okay. Alright. So
Basically, Gutter gets kidnapped by the FBI. The fucking troubles start. Last thing I hear from these guys is the last I hear from the coterie is Nighty is dead in the fucking graveyard. I am running from the fucking FBI SWAT team they sent after us. And I go to ground. Sensible. Smart, right? Try to stay out of shit.
yeah, I'd say so.
I come back. Suddenly, this Project Juliet, this lady who was a fucking friend of King. That's the issue. That's why she was so willing, because she thinks we're all fucking monsters who deserves to burn for what we did tonight.
Don't we?
What did we do?
I don't think I need to end up going through the whole speech again, but there's a reason that a lot of us refer to ourselves as the damned.
Yeah, well, Nighty was a whole case of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep. Reminds me of my days. This is a neonate. Definitely familiar territory.
But yeah, anyway, I come back after going to ground when I think it's safe, and I find out they've been off hacking the FBI, sinking their fucking boats. And now we have to deal with this Project Juliet, who is literally been bred to infiltrate and kill fucking kindred. And the thing is, apparently they fucked up the process. She's the reason there's fucking organless corpses all around. She eats people, like literally eats people.
Oh, well. Been a while since I end up having to end up dealing with them carnivores.
You know of people like her?
Yeah. Well, not for a while. I'm back in the old country.
Yeah, well, we got one on our hands right now, and they're trying to deal with it. And
Okay, so what you're telling me is that what we have is oh, what do the kids call it these days? Land shark.
land shark.
Takes a rip out of somebody, fucks off with the meat, usually a leg or an arm.
We're talking more livers, organs.
Tends to be a preference, but not mandatory.
God knows, she's greener than most bloody fledglings.
You know, I once ended up having that problem. Ran across a queen bitch who didn't end up knowing her ass from her elbow. And I remember she busted my balls from here back to Ireland.
What happened to her?
She came complaining to me about Newfie kindred she found and was busting her balls from here to Ireland.
Look, if this was just a new kindred, that would be fine. This girl was fucking trained by the FBI to infiltrate us. And as far as I know, that's exactly what they've fucking done. They've let her into our fucking haven. The one we just got, potentially putting more people at risk. Literally put someone in the fucking hospital today.
Yep.
And they're trusting her over me. Sure, I can be rash. I have made my own fucking mistakes. But there's fucking basic precautions, Hector.
There is. There is. But there's also the problem where you end up having this bit where, well, if she's such a fucking threat, well, you know, back in the days, back with the Camarilla, you ended up having something like that, they'd fucking off you. But they wouldn't just off you, they'd end up offering, or often, you, a coterie, probably the sire. You know, it's very extensive purge there.
Yeah, I'm aware. That's why what happened to King had to fucking happen.
Last, hold up. You might feel responsible. And I get that. I really do. But, at the end of the night, you're still standing. You're still here. And you got some decisions to make. Now, you can end up telling this coterie you can go fuck themselves, but, well, I would end up asking you where you should go there. I'll take you in if you want. You can lay low for a couple of decades. Let's just hope that this whole thing blows over. Or we can do something else with it. Your choice, really. I guess the question here is well, what do you actually want? I mean, really, not just with her, but what is it that dear darling Raven wants? Her vision of the future. Where are you going to be in 50 years' time?
I want this city safe.
Safe for who?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
I think you might want to sleep on it. We'll end up here talking first thing in the evening, but he kind of looks to the sky as you notice that you're starting to get a little bit of a lighter view of it. The sky has that slight blue to it. Oh, I'm going inside. Don't mind the house guest.
House guest.
You came here into my head, yeah, my abode, at a very unusual, inconvenient time, Raven.
Okay. Thanks, Hector.
You step in, and at the kitchen table, you hear a little girl's voice. Hector, who is it? It's one of my young'uns. She'll be spending the day here. Is it going to be all right? Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, don't you worry about it, my dear. He kind of purposely blocks the hit. Body blocks the kitchen entrance. Your room is downstairs there, yeah, Raven. You'll be alright tonight, alright? Nothing's gonna happen to you. But be
Yeah.
sure, keep your head on your shoulders. We'll talk tomorrow, alright?
Raven's just gonna head downstairs. She's not gonna look. She's not gonna risk annoying Hector.
With that, this scene comes to a close. Alright, ladies and gents. Whew. Okay, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break just to kind of stretch our legs and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll get to XP. And don't forget, for those of you who are new to the channel, I see that we got rated. I want you to end up checking out too, as we end up doing a VTM workshop after the session. We'll be having about an hour break to just kind of unwind, think of the content but when we get back, we get to end up starting with XP. So, until then, I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome back to Detroit by Night, the Motor City Broke Down episode 18, which just concluded. The title? Well, who remembers the title? Nobody.
De-Liverance.
De-Liverance.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right. So, our session just concluded. For those of you who kept up with us, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the ride. Now, that being said, we have some experience to give out. So, for those of you who don't know the rules, pardon me, they're very simple. We give out one experience for everybody who showed up. Then we, true to vampire, where it could be merit, it could be politicking. You never know. We want to end up figuring out who progressed the plot the furthest, who had the best scene, and who had the best one-liner. And we've added a fourth dot up there. And it's going to be user voted. So I want you to think about what you've seen, what you heard. Who do you like the characterization of, as far as the player characters you see beside me? Well, above me anyway. Nightmare Mouse, Rashad, and Raven. Now, that being said, let's get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, who ended up progressing the plot the furthest?
I mean,
have
getting to open up to me a little bit is
that is definitely something.
significant.
Yes.
Yeah, I would put mouse forward.
Yeah.
I will put my the fact that I gathered the information and the what do you call it? The nun stuff. I'll put that out there, but I will also vote for Mouse.
Yeah, Mouse.
Mouse? Okay, we got Mouse gets 1 XP. Okay, who had the best scene? Yes, he had 12 for 10. A nun.
A nun, yes, a creepy nun with a burned face, but a nun nonetheless.
Boo.
You love me.
Best
I don't know.
There were some good scenes.
Some good scenes.
I will go ahead and put myself out there, I guess. Since no one else is saying anything. With the whole nightmare kind of freaking out thing and arguing with himself.
That was good. That was really good.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Anybody else putting anything else up? No, the storyteller can't get points for DD.
DD! Get out of my laboratory!
I'd give it to me for that then.
What were you doing? Who, DD? Who?
Yes. So I'm gonna go with that. That's my vote for me, is that talking to Juliet and then having a subsequent TV kind of chill moment.
All right. So, what about the other two?
So the best moment?
This is best scene right now.
Best scene.
Moment can also count.
I did like the Raven and Nightmare argument.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Guess that comes down to our dear friend
Like
Rashad.
the fact that this is literally Raven has walked away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's the big thing.
Yeah. They
From
each other.
From those three options,
If you have a fourth, you go right ahead. You're either a tiebreaker or you're going to maintain the tie. You know how we deal
we
with
can have a
that.
4-way tie.
Well, we can.
Oh, nah, I'll be a tiebreaker in this. I'll have to give the point to. I'm going to give the point to Nightmare.
All right. For which scene?
Arguing with his inner beast.
All right. Nightmare, you receive an additional XP. All right. Who had the best one-liner? Could be a serious moment, could be a comedic moment.
Hmm.
I was quite a fan of Raven's line. My best is probably at level with your worst.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm,
I love how
Yeah.
everybody's putting themselves forward today. This is surprisingly a selfish one this time around. That's kind of interesting. Usually everybody's putting each other over. This time everybody's being selfish. This is interesting. You're all evolving in humanity.
mm.
Yeah, but we've all lost a point of humanity from playing with you, Mac. See what you've done.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. All right.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, I would agree with Raven.
Yeah.
All right. Raven, you end up getting that additional XP. Now it comes to audience. So the audience gets to give away 1 XP based on majority vote. We already have an early vote cast by 12 for Nightmare, but basically you're looking for who entertained you the most, or whose arc did you like the most. Whatever your reasons. Your reasons are your own. You don't need to justify them to anyone. Okay? Even if it's personal bias, we don't judge. But either way, I end up allowing the audience to decide who is it that they ended up finding either the most engrossing, the most entertaining, or who they just they're feeling this character.
Also, unfortunately, as much as we would all love to see Mac level up, he's already at max level, so you can't give him any points.
It's true.
Yeah,
Facts.
well, clearly I'm role playing Kane, right? So
Pretty much, yeah.
Automatic win.
Yeah, he's the highest level vampire out there. He's got like 10,000 XP or some shit.
yeah, Pneumonica's wanting to give 1 to Mouse. We got 1 to Nightmare, and well, we're going to give it a few minutes for everybody to end up posting. Mouse and Juliet
Yes,
couch time would also be 2 votes. Mouse. Oh, they keep doing this, but I'm so Black Wolf. Are you giving it to Raven this time or Mouse?
I mean, according to that last post, I would say it's Raven.
3-way tie. Okay, well, we know how we deal with ties. So,
Oh my.
the way we deal with ties is, if there isn't a clear winner, if there isn't somebody who's a majority, I have everybody who's involved agree high or low. If it's high, or if it gets to the number that they agree upon, so if it's rolls high and they guessed high, everybody gets the experience. But if they guess wrong, it's nobody gets the experience for it. So,
I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling awfully low today.
Yeah, that did kind of end on a low point for everyone.
Yeah, let's do that.
Damn it!
Fuck!
Damn it, Derek! You couldn't give this one to us.
Hey, I simply ended up rolling the die. The dice
Okay, how
the
about
dice
this?
knew how this was going. Oh, there's no negotiating at this point. Prince does not
Damn
negotiate.
dice roll. Curse you, Lord of Dice! Anyway.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end up closing out the stream for now. If you don't know, and you're new to this stream, I end up running a Vampire the Masquerade workshop at typically around 11. So 11 Central Standard Time. Right now is 10 after 10. So in 50 minutes, I'm going to be running a workshop. So I invite all of you to end up joining in and get yourself involved in the discussion. And I don't do a set topic. I only do one of these a week, so I leave these literally open to whatever anybody wants to talk about. Now, this could go with character creation, which we do some character creation here. We can do campaign creation, NPC generation, developing scenes. We can go through the whole gambit. But ultimately, this is a workshop for players and storytellers alike to kind of gather around, share their knowledge of the craft, and let me kind of end up interacting with you all. I always end up looking forward to these moments because I get to learn something every single night. But, that being said, NPC generation was a blast. I'm glad to hear that, 12 for 10. So, to everybody else who hasn't already, if you haven't hit that follow button, please do. We're here streaming every single Sunday, Vampire the Masquerade, and Mondays I end up doing an art stream. So, drawing on the macabre. We also end up having a little bit of a gathering. So, that being said, to the players, is there any topic you guys are going to stick around you want to end up getting involved in? Something you want to hear me kind of unpack?
Friction within the coterie.
Friction within the coterie. Ooh, that's always a tough one, but a fun one. So we'll touch on that. And to the rest of you, I hope to see you in about 50 minutes. This way we can end up unwinding. It's kind of our moment to just enjoy the craft. And hopefully we can tell a story of our own. Oh, 12, that's not even up for negotiation. Whole blood is better than plasma. Kitty, don't worry about it. The VOD is going up, and soon I will be uploading the VODs to YouTube. So we will have a permanent archive. So, that being said, I'm grateful that you all showed up. And Kitty, you may have missed the stream for the game, but remember, we still have the workshop coming up in 45 minutes. So I'm going to stretch my legs. We're going to enjoy this evening together. Until next time, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.